This is episode 470 of the Locked On Texas Rangers podcast. I'm going to be talking about what happened in the ALDS, the NLDS, a very controversial and, personally upsetting strike three called on the Giants to eliminate them and all kinds of other stuff. Plus, here's some talk from our MLB insider experts of what they think is going to happen in the ALCS. Let's get started.
You are Locked On Rangers, your daily Texas Rangers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On to the Texas Rangers. I'm your host, Brice Paterik. Happy Friday to everyone. I wanted to thank you for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. Today's episode is brought to you by Spotify Green Room. Download the app and join me next week on Wednesday night to get in on the action. Now, the matchups are set for the championship series. I don't know. Whichever one sounds the rightest to you, just take that as me getting it right on definitely the first try. But the ALCS, the NLCS, both of those matchups are decided. The final game of the divisional series was last night, Thursday night, ended on just a wild game in general. And, I felt a little annoyed, more than a little annoyed, actually, that there was no, I guess, baseball karma is the word I'm looking for, applied to the Dodgers for, first off, getting Trevor Bauer. That was a bad move. At the start, it was a really bad move in hindsight. And, I do give them the smallest bit of kudos for just saying we don't want this man around our team when the situation that happened, and all of the charges and the inquiries and MLB's investigation kind of took it out of their hands. Good on the league for actually stepping up and doing something and not letting this man play while he is under investigation for some pretty heinous stuff. So, yeah, but that's not why I'm mad. That's not why I think baseball karma should happen to them. It's because they didn't start their starter. They went with two guys, two different openers. I've never seen this. Two different openers. They started Corey Knebel, former Ranger great, former Texas pitcher. Never played in the majors with the Rangers, but was a minor league piece for the Rangers used in the Giovanni Gallardo trade. Now, Knebel did fine, allowed one hit and one shutout inning of work. Meanwhile, Webb on the other side just had the most fantastic. Logan Webb, 24-year-old righty for the Giants, had the most fantastic first two postseason starts that you could possibly hope to have. 7 innings of 1-run ball, struck out 7, only allowed 4 hits, 1 walk, an 0.61 now career postseason ERA. The guy was just absolutely lights out, and just super duper impressive in both of his starts. His first start, he went 7 2/3 innings, struck out 10 Dodgers, allowed 5 hits, no walks, no runs, no earned runs, obviously. A whip of .65 and a whip of .68 in this most recent start of Game 5. Just looked absolutely dominant. I wasn't sure that he was their best starter. I was a little concerned because they had a lot of other guys that were, more seasoned. Not a lot of them had a lot of experience, doing well in the postseason. And a lot of them were guys that they kind of did what the Rangers had done to be successful. They've got guys that were, showed some potential before, but hadn't really quite broken out. He only threw their third most innings, Logan Webb did. They also had guys like Johnny Cueto, who had started several games in the postseason, a lot of postseason experience, also won a World Series with the Royals. So a really established veteran guy who's 35 years old. They also had Kevin Gausman, who I thought was their best pitcher during the regular season, pitched 192 innings with a 2.81 ERA and struck out 227. Anthony DeSclafani pitched more innings than Logan Webb. Alex Wood is a guy who's pitched in the postseason with the Dodgers, actually. Had an all right season. A 3.83 ERA isn't as great in the National League, but struck out quite a few batters per 9 innings, more than 9. And of course, it's immediately obscuring my view. There we go. 9.9 batters per 9 innings for him this season. So they had a really good pitching staff, a pretty good relief staff. Just the offense wasn't quite able to get there. even though it was absolutely there. Like, I had my questions about them, but it was there during the regular season. This is one of the best offenses in baseball, if not the best offense in baseball. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's the best offense in baseball. It was a deeper lineup than the Dodgers, more consistent than the Dodgers. A lot of big hitters. Mike Yastrzemski had a 25 home run season. Buster Posey had 18 bombs in 113 games. Brandon Belt had 29 in 97 games. Brandon Crawford came back and looked like the Brandon Crawford of old. Just a really talented lineup from top to bottom, guys having career revival seasons at the ages that you wouldn't really think they'd do it. I mean, you look at this starting lineup: Buster Posey 34, Brandon Belt 33, Donovan Solano 33, Brandon Crawford 34, Evan Longoria 35. All these guys are kind of old, but they absolutely gave the Dodgers a run for their money, won the regular season division title, 107 games, absolutely insane. Nothing to take away from them. Still, a lot of people not paying attention to them because they made their preseason picks of the Dodgers and the Padres being the clout of the NL West. And you know what? The Giants said, screw you. We're going to take this division. And if it was an even year, I bet they would be going on to the NLCS. But that's not what happened. There's a controversial strike 3 called. Very, very difficult to believe that went down. Max Scherzer came in the 9th inning. Kenley Jansen pitched the 8th inning. And in comes Max Scherzer in the 9th inning to close this one out. And it ended on a strikeout call that was just bad. I'm going to say it. It was just bad. Wilmer Flores struck out swinging on a check swing that, you know, the problem with baseball, Major League Baseball, is the check swing is not defined. It's just whatever the umpire says. So you can't review it because it's whatever the umpire says. And in college baseball, the rule is if the bat goes past the front of the plate or I believe the batter's hip, if it goes past that point in the swing, then it is ruled an actual swing and not a check swing. But Major League Baseball is just like, yeah, screw it. We're not even going to define it. It's just whatever you think is right. This bat maybe got to the back of home plate before he checked it. Like maybe got to the back of the plate. It was very clearly a check swing on a ball that was not in the strike zone. A very difficult call to end the game on. And but you know, that's the way baseball goes sometimes. An 86.9 mile an hour slider that was ruled a swinging strike on 0-2 count. But again, even if he didn't swing on that, it's Max Scherzer coming out in 1 inning of work. That's absolutely terrifying in a winner-take-all game. Also, it reminds me they need to banish Major League Baseball needs to banish divisions. 2 105+ win teams should not be eliminating each other in a divisional series. It should not happen. It should not happen at all. They need to rework the way the playoffs work. Because as funny as it would have been if the Dodgers lost in a 1-game wildcard playoff after winning 106 regular season games, it's bad for baseball. You need to see your best teams in the biggest spots. This should have been the National League Championship Series. No disrespect to the Atlanta Braves, but I don't think that this is going to be nearly as close a series in the NLCS as it was in the NLDS with these two teams. Now, take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear from our insiders of what they think about what's going to happen in the ALCS when the Boston Red Sox take on the Houston Astros tonight. But first, it's a word from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Built Bar. You know, Built Bar has so many delicious flavors. There's something for everyone. When you talk to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their faves. If you don't know about Built Bar flavors, well, then you're absolutely missing out. They've got raspberry, cherry barcia, double chocolate, salted caramel, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, German chocolate, all kinds of great stuff. They're all delicious. You know, they're all healthy as well. So most of these flavors, they have 17 to 18 grams of protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. All amazing flavors. All of them are tasty. All of them are healthy as well. So go to built.com, use promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Now, let's take this moment and hear what our experts think is going to happen in the American League Championship Series. I know I have my thoughts, but I'll let them share their thoughts with you first.
What's up, everybody? I'm Daniela Bruce here with a Locked On Now Insider Report. Joining me is MLB insider Gordon Beckham. Gordon, thank you for joining me. We have a lot to talk about today. We're going to kick things off with the Red Sox Astros. The ALCS is set. Game 1 on Friday. We've talked a lot about the Red Sox and their journey to this point. What has impressed you about the Astros and their journey to get here?
Yeah, the Astros have just been doing it pretty much all year. I mean, they started off a little slow, and then all of a sudden, middle of the summer, they just picked it up, and they haven't looked back since. They're really good. Obviously, they've got good pitching. They've got younger guys that are pitching, it seems like, and they also have a really potent offense. So they're a deadly combination. I really thought the White Sox were going to handle their business in that series, but the Astros have just shown that they're a better team. They played them really well in the regular season and then handled them in the postseason. So going in, they've got to have a lot of confidence the way that they're playing. So I think that they're trending in the right direction. They are going to be tough to beat.
Their offense was absolutely on fire today, and we know the Astros were accused of stealing signs at home, but does putting up 10 runs in their closeout game kind of eliminate that conversation?
Yeah, I think so. I think that, there's always going to be things said that might not be full truth or exactly what people are thinking in the clubhouse. But, when people are having good at bats at home and then they're not on the road, you have to question that a little bit. But then when they come out there and score 10 runs a day, there's nothing that, the White Sox or anybody can say. This is a good team. It doesn't really matter. If they score 10 at home, 10 on the road, I've just noticed that they're a really good hitting team. They put up really good at bats. They're competitive. They don't give in. And when you have that kind of lineup, it's just really difficult to beat these guys. They're veterans. They have great at bats, and just the way they go about their business is impressive.
Gordon, we've talked about the importance of momentum, especially in postseason baseball. The Red Sox had some of that, but now they've had a few days off, and they're going to have a couple more before Friday's game. Is this something that is going to help or hurt the Sox?
I don't think it's going to help, but I do think that both teams are trending in the right direction. So you've got two teams that are very confident in what they're doing, and the Red Sox have looked good. They beat a team that won over 100 games in a 5-game series, and they didn't even take it to the 5th game. So, they look really good. They have momentum. Anytime you have, postseason baseball at Fenway Park, it's electric there. That they have that kind of awesome, Boston mentality coming to the park every night. So they're trending in the right direction. They got to go to Houston and handle the boys down there before they can get back to Fenway. But it's going to be an impressive and exciting series. I'm super excited about watching this group.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting series, and we've talked about the Astros offense already. One of the best offenses in Major League Baseball this season. How are the Red Sox going to pitch against the Astros to have a successful series?
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but biggest thing is being able to hit your spots and throw your off speed for strikes. When you can do that, which the Astros pitchers have very good off speed. McCullers threw today, looked really good as he always has. But these guys, if they can throw their off speed for strikes, it really puts pressure on the offense to make good decisions. And when you have nasty stuff, it's hard to make good decisions when it's happening that in the split second. So I think that the Red Sox pitchers just have to attack in the zone, but have to attack with off speed and be able to add and subtract with that off speed, strike the ball, making sure that they're not leaving stuff in the middle of the plate, because Astros have just shown that if you leave stuff in the middle of the plate, they are going to hit it hard. And they showed that in the White Sox series. So got to hit your spots. That's the name of the game in the big leagues, but especially in the playoffs.
The Red Sox have been a great story this postseason, Gordon. It's been so fun to follow them, but now they face a 7-game series against the Astros. Just how much harder is it to hide your flaws in a 7-game series?
Yeah, everything kind of comes back to the surface when you play 7 games, because it's generally shows who is the better team. Obviously, people can get hot, but at the same time, 7 games. If you make a couple mistakes here, you've got a little more time to make up for that, as opposed to a 5-game series, because you can really get behind the 8 ball. But I think the Red Sox have got a real fighting chance in this series. I mean, they played in the AL East, which had 4 teams that were vying for playoff spots. So they were in it all year, and they kind of came out of the fire, and they still are riding that momentum from the 2 wins against the Yankees and then the Rays. So they're going to be a tough team to beat. It's like I said, it's going to be a really fun series to watch.
Yeah, it is. And I hear some positive things that you're saying about both of these teams. So make your pick right now. Who's winning the series?
God, I haven't even thought about it, so I'm just going to go what I think. I think the Astros look too good. They have the pitching. The pitching looked really good for them, but their at bats are just really, really good. Their whole lineup from top to bottom is having great at bats, and the Red Sox are too. But I think the Astros are going to win. I think they're going to win in 5 or 6 games. I'll give myself a little leeway.
All right, there you have it, everybody. MLB insider Gordon Beckham is picking the Astros in this one, and we will definitely be tuned in to this series as it moves forward. From insider analysis to local experts, check out your local Locked On podcast for more. Locked On, your team every day.
Well, that was definitely a lot of insight, a lot of great stuff. Thank you to the folks at Locked On Now and to the Locked On Network for providing us all of that insight. Definitely don't love the pick, but I get it. It's well thought out, well measured. But you know, I can't pick the Astros. Obviously, I picked them to lose in the ALDS, and I picked the White Sox to go ahead and win the World Series. So basically every single one of my picks so far in the American League has been just straight up wrong. So why not continue it and pick the other guys, the Red Sox, to win this American League Championship Series. But going to be a rematch of last year's NLCS, a chance at a rematch of the 2017 World Series, but should be some interesting final series of the season. Going to be a lot of fun. Take a quick break and come back. I'm going to look at what I think is going to happen in this American League and NLCS championship series. Coming up, right after this word for our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by betonline.ag. We're back and better than ever, and all eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for another football season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all pro and college football action this season. With a new updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device. You sign up today, receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games and baseball as well, don't forget to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Now, I want to give a quick shout out to the Dallas Stars for defeating the Rangers. Yes, defeating the actual Rangers in an overtime game last night. Go check out Locked On Stars. Dane over there is great. Great people, great podcast, great analysis there. It felt weird watching a Rangers team go on a scoring spree, but them getting shut down by their own offense was, something we as Rangers fans of a different kind are very familiar with. But let's look at this championship series. Boston, I did not expect them to do what they did against the Rays. The Rays were such a good team in the regular season, and to beat them 3-1 in the ALDS was surprising. I also didn't pick them to win against the Yankees in the wild card, but goes to show what I know. Not much, apparently. But the fact that their starting pitching was able to do what they did against this Rays offense was the most impressive thing to me. I didn't think their starting pitching was that good. I know Chris Sale is great, and the rest of their starters are, I think, a lot of smoke and mirrors. I don't think they were actually that good. Nathan Eovaldi has some good stuff, but he has had some really bad games. Same with Nick Pivetta and Eduardo Rodriguez. Garrett Richards is now in the bullpen. Tanner Hook is fine, but I don't know, a lot of things that I don't trust about this team. Even Martin Perez, as much as I love him, I don't trust him starting in a playoff series against bats that are this good. And I'm scared. I think that Houston's probably going to win, but I would never pick them. They just have such a deep lineup. But the Red Sox showed they can beat up on any pitching staff. I mean, the Rays pitching staff is fantastic. Their bullpen is fantastic. The Red Sox offense got to pretty much everyone. I mean, it's a really, really deep, talented Red Sox offense. I mean, from 1-9, basically just loaded, just absolutely loaded. Bobby Dahlbeck didn't have a great series, but that's fine because Kyle Schwarber was playing a lot of first base. Kike Hernandez had an absolutely unbelievable series. Rafael Devers, Xander Bogaerts didn't have the great, he still had a really good series, but it just wasn't quite as much compared to Kike and Rafael Devers and Schwarber as well. JD Martinez continues to be an absolute beast of a bat. They batted him 7th in the final game of this series, which is absolutely insane to me, but it worked. Alex Verdugo is showing he's coming into his own. Hunter Renfroe has been great defensively and had a pretty decent offensive series. Christian Vasquez behind the plate poured in a couple of hits in the Game 4 win in Boston. So I don't know. This team is definitely good. We saw Wander Franco's coming out party. That was a lot of fun. He is so talented, and it hurts my feelings to watch him because he reminds me of what Jurickson Profar could have been. That's what I think of Profar hitting his full ceiling is about Wander Franco-ish levels, kind of like Francisco Lindor levels of switch hitter. Maybe Francisco Lindor had a little bit more power than him, but Profar was going to be this 300 hitting, switch hitting, 20 home runs a game, Gold Glove caliber defense, great leader, great smile, great personality, guy that led the Rangers into the next era. And we could have had a prime Joey Gallo, prime Jurickson Profar, but prospects don't always work out, and they will break your heart. And they absolutely did several times over, and they will continue to do so several more times over. But let's look really quickly at this NLCS that will be happening this weekend. The Atlanta Braves, they look good. Their pitching staff is fantastic. One of the best starting staffs in baseball. They got Charlie Morton, Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Huascar Yanoa, who hit a grand slam, the only pitcher to hit, I believe it was a grand slam in his debut, looked really stinking good this season. Charlie Morton at age 37 looks as good as he's ever looked. Absolutely fantastic. 216 strikeouts and 185 innings of work this year. Just a really solid lineup as well, even with some of the guys that they're missing. Travis d'Arnaud, Freddie Freeman, Ozzie Albies had a great season. Dansby Swanson is looking like a Gold Glover at shortstop. He also had 27 home runs this season and 33 doubles. Austin Riley has looked really dang good at the hot corner for them. And even without Ronald Acuna Jr., Adam Duvall and Jorge Soler have really come up. And they also have Jock Peterson or Jocktober, who really knows how to hit in the postseason. I believe he was on that last year's team. Maybe he's not. I don't know, but he has a lot of postseason experience in the playoffs with the Dodgers and with just throughout his major league career has come up big in big spots. So definitely a team to watch. They have a solid bullpen. Former Rangers, Chris Martin and Luke Jackson out there. AJ Minter looked really good in the bullpen for them. Tyler Matzek, Will Smith. Just a really solid team from top to bottom. But the Dodgers are really stinking good, so that's going to be a very, very tough series. And I think I'm going to have to pick the Dodgers just because of what they just did. And I trust them a little bit more. I'd be excited to be wrong. I just will continue my wrongness of being wrong and looking dumb with all these picks just because, that's what baseball does. As soon as you think you know anything, baseball proves to you, you don't know a darn thing. You never will know a darn thing. And that's the way it's always going to be. But doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the Dodgers. I'm going to pick the Red Sox and probably end up being wrong on both accounts. So congrats on our Houston Astros versus Atlanta Braves World Series. That's definitely upcoming because baseball likes to make my picks look very wrong very quickly. But that's going to do it for this week's edition of Locked On Rangers. Thank you for making Locked On Rangers your first listen of the day. Please be sure to go subscribe on YouTube or whatever podcast app of your choosing. Make sure to go follow me on Twitter at Brice Paterik. Follow the show at Locked On Rangers. And until next time, don't forget to enjoy some playoff baseball.